Good evening. I want to just take a moment to say hello and invite you to this journey that I am just starting. Literally, it's 7:30. I started roughly 5 p.m., so a couple hours ago. And this is my journey, which I've done a couple years ago, a nice long fast, but I wanted to take you and whoever else is interested in kind of the process and experience that someone goes through in a long fast. And my plan is to actually create a playlist on my YouTube channel, as well as a some sort of way to do the same thing on Facebook as well. So this is day zero. So I'm literally just starting. So I'm totally fine. I'm not starving or feeling hungry in any way, shape, or form. If you have not met me before, my name is John Ruman. I am very passionate about helping people achieve and live their greatest potential. And diet, exercise, fasting, detoxing have been a major part of my journey towards being my best self. And this topic is very popular for everyone. The one thing I would encourage if you are watching that, especially if you're going to look at doing long fasts, this is a 40 day. That's the plan, 40 days. If you're going to do a long fast, that you get feedback and advice from your medical professionals. I have done over the past 3 years or 4 years, I have done over 150 days of fasting. I've done a lot of fasting to the degree in 2021. I actually had a goal of 100 days. I know somewhere in the 90s that I achieved in the total days of fasting. And I felt very compelled, I would say I was like spiritually driven internally. And it's been a beautiful journey. So, what I would welcome is if you are new to fasting or if you have experience, let me know in the comments, send me questions, and I'll be happy to answer them here in a little bit. I'm just going to talk about today the preparation, what kind of got me started, to kind of where I am, so that I can kind of tell you about where I'm going and kind of the experience. So this is like preparation, what brought me to day zero, and how I did it. So with long fasts, and this is very important that I make a point of this, long fasts meaning anything longer than 5 or 7 days, the body has a total shutdown mode it goes through, but there's a lot of healing benefits that happen at the same time. The challenge is most people eat foods that get kind of stuck in the digestive tract in those longer fasts, and it actually rots the body. So we have these foods rotting in our digestive tract. We also have issues of the body detoxing, and it dumps all the stuff either in our urine, through our skin. You're going to stink if you do long fasts and you don't eat too well and you haven't done a lot of this. Just expect for your breath and your body to have much more body odor than normal. And whatever bowel movements you do have, it'll be stinkier, but there's going to be a point where you don't have them. And this is where I encourage people who are on this journey to buy a couple things that will help you on this journey. And those are something called psyllium husk, which is basically super, super, super low calorie. It's basically kind of this sticky, slimy stuff, and it makes it almost like jello. Gelatin is my understanding. A lot of it's from this kind of stuff. So psyllium husk, super high fiber, and when you take it, it basically flushes out the system. Okay. Also, if anyone does a long fast, the body, again, in dumping these toxins, um, long story short, your body just, it's much, 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 much easier for you and your body if your colon and your whole digestive tract are pretty much empty. And to do this, and this is really the preparation part, the the way you really do this is maybe a few days before, so maybe 2 or 3 days before, begin shifting what you're eating from whatever you normally eat to veggies, and eventually on the day or day before. So maybe 36 hours before. So let's say whatever, a day and a half ago, whatever those meals were, I would start eating fruit only. And then the day of, fruit only. So about a day and a half prior. And what that allows to happen is fruit is beautiful. It digests quickly, easily, and it also is high in fiber. So it brushes out anything. I don't mean fruit juice, I mean fruit. I don't mean smoothies. I mean fruit, whole fruit. Taking a mango, biting it. Taking a watermelon, biting it. Not blending it up to smoothie and eating it. That has a whole other effect on the body. So that's what you do the few days prior. A day to 3 days prior are fruit. The few days before that, you are eating salads, vegetables. You can have fruit as well. But ideally, the couple things to really avoid are really sticky carbs. That could be pasta, bread, basically breads, and avoid meats. So maybe 5 days before you want to avoid meats, and avoid dairy and most breads. So you can eat a lot of ground provisions. That could be potatoes, sweet potatoes, cassava, things like that for like that kind of stuff. And if you're a little bit less healthy, it could be fries, cassava fries, whatever. And then as you get about 3 days prior, you need to cut that stuff out. You need to just eat a lot of calories, veggie wise, because your body is probably going to feel like it's starving if you're new at this. So you're going to eat a lot of veggies, a lot of fruit. And again, that day and a half prior, fruit only. And then what happens, so right now I just have fruit in my digestive tract. So in a couple days, my digestive tract will be totally empty. So this is paramount. This is probably the most important and dangerous thing that people who are inexperienced about fasting, they do two things wrong, and this is why it's dangerous. There's other reasons, but here's two biggies. One, they eat a lot of breads, pastas, and meats. And the last couple days, the last meals they have are these foods. And the problem is those foods don't easily move through the digestive tract. So they sit, they rot, they ferment, not ideal. And if that is you, don't fast. Again, try to shift to having these veggies for a few days prior, and then the day before have fruit. And then that's phase one. Phase two, whenever you end your fast, let's say 5 days, 10 days, 2 days. By the way, I always tell people this journey of doing fasting is a marathon, not a sprint. As I said, 2021, I did 90 some odd days of fasting. 2020, I think I did a month and a half of fasting. 2022, last year, 40 days fasting. Maybe not as much, but the point is the more you do it, your body gets more acclimated because the body detoxes. Every time you fast, your body gets rid of more stuff. You stink less, which is kind of nice. I'm at the point now where I'm not going to stink very much during the fast. And the blessing with that is that my body won't go through the yuckiness as much. Beginning fasting people, and this is probably most of the people watching this, think of it like this. You get comfortable at doing a 24-hour fast. Do a bunch of 24-hour fasts. When you get comfortable with that, do a 36-hour fast. When you get comfortable with that, do a 2-day, 48-hour fast. When you get comfortable with that, do a 3-day fast. Do a handful of those. Get comfortable with that, maybe do a 4 or 5-day fast. Do a few of those. Once you come to that, do a week fast. Do a couple of those. And then go longer. Don't jump into 3 weeks. It's miserable unless you kind of train to get good at it. So when I did these long fasts in 2021, this whole cumulative in the 90 days, it was a lot, but my body was trained for it. It was clean. I was not dying every day. Most people did not even know I was fasting. I was working. I was meeting clients every day. I actually did trainings out. Like I was very active. The energy you have, I'll be 100% honest with you, is it'll be less. So on days 1 to 3, it drops maybe 90-80%. After day 3 is when your glycogen stores, basically your sugar stores in your blood and liver are gone. Your body turns into ketosis. Some people it happens faster, but just for ease, let's say a couple days in. And then it drops to maybe 60 to 80%. Once you go beyond 7 or 8 days, it drops again. So if it's 60 to 80%, It'll be 60 if you have more toxins. And if your body has less toxin, you can be like 80, 85%. And then again, beyond about a week to 9 days, any days beyond that, the you're probably 40 to 60%. So just expect that. And when your body's tired, if you don't have to work, relax, lie down. Um, People are going to ask me, and I get this a lot, what am I eating? Or what am I consuming? What is allowed in a fast? So for those of you who are in the Caribbean, like that I live in Trinidad and the weather's hot, and I'm in air conditioning right now, but we live in a hot climate, and the body has a lot of electrolytes, a lot of salts. And when you sweat a lot, your body, when you perspirate, your body uses a lot of these salts. And very quickly, 2 days in, 3 days in, your body starts running out of these salts. And in my experience, if I go more than 3 or 4 days, it can be very challenging to not have a replenishment of these salts. So where's my water? Is there water in here? No. But what I do in my water is I put Himalayan pink salt. I'll actually make a brine, like a dropper brine, and I'll put Himalayan pink salt in it, and then so this is a bottle. This actually has the concentrated salt. So I'll take one of these dropper things and I'll squeeze 2 or 3 or 4 of these per cup, and it gives me the salt I need. So that's one thing. And then I'll also take potassium and magnesium, which are 2 other electrolyte salts that very much help the body. Magnesium citrate, potassium citrate, I believe are the ones I take. Now brand, if you want to go specific. I'm not promoting any brand, but that's what I take. And then remember I said that your energy can get low on a fast. That's a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because you kind of feel relaxed and you can sleep. You sleep great, by the way. You want to get some deep sleep, do some long fasts. You'll sleep great. You're going to find your body hurts, by the way, during a fast. But let me talk briefly about the energy thing. So again, I've done a lot of these long fasts. I've really played with, actually, this. No. But there are a few things you can take that allow you to get the benefit of having like a boost in energy, because obviously we need to work. So being well hydrated is a biggie. Taking pink salt. I'm a huge fan of pink salt over regular sea salt, just because the oceans are cleaner during the days of the Himalayan mountains. When that ocean was formed and dried, which eventually made the salts that are the pink salt. This current seas are not very clean. And then you can also get what's called Celtic or Celtic sea salt. That's really good. That would be a step up from Himalayan, but it's a bit more of a premium. That's really nice. The micronutrients, there's a lot of minerals inside Himalayan salt and Celtic sea salt, which the body craves too. If you do long fasts, it's typically recommended by people who kind of study this that you actually take a multivitamin, primarily because there's a lot of micronutrients the body kind of needs. And I'm not against that. I have found that the pink salt alone, I feel dramatic difference just energetically by taking that. And by the way, if you're not aware of the chemistry, salt or these electrolytes, as you've heard from Gatorade and all that, they just help the electrical current, and it allows your muscles to activate without having spasms or cramps. So you will cramp up unless you do that. And I'm a fan of taking potassium, magnesium, and these salts every single day. So getting energy. So you're going to be lower energy as you go through these fasts. And again, you're going to sleep like a baby. I encourage you to nap when you need to nap. Trust your body. But it's a couple of hacks that I use. I will take coffee, but I take it black, which does not break the fast. Coffee has effects on our adrenal glands, and it's kind of a shock to the system. It really wakes you up. Don't abuse this, because it will make you more tired when you're off the coffee, and you'll notice it more when you're fasting. So use it sparingly, and it'll be gold. There are a couple other tonics that you can get. That one the name's not coming to me, but I'll do another post about, maybe I'll do one of these videos specifically about having energy in long fasts. But so that's another one. But okay, so there's energy during fast. Something to note as well that you'll experience if you do long fasts is your body is going to have aches and pains. And oh, and by the way, I really want to, for those who are watching now and watch, let's say you skip ahead a week or whatever, and you watch, watch my facial progression. I should get real close to the camera. So each of us have areas where we have wrinkles. So you see how I smile? There's John's wrinkles, okay? And I don't have that many. So I'd say I have some on the forehead here. There's one here in the center. Not a huge amount, not a lot on my neck. But what I want you to pay attention to is, so notice how my face looks now, and then in about a week's time, it usually takes about 7 to 10 days in my experience, I will begin looking. So I am 46 right now. It doesn't really matter how old I look, but 46 right now, right? And I'm at day 0 on this fast. In about a week and a half, I want those who are willing to watch and kind of pay attention, notice me getting younger looking. And you won't really notice. You will see my fat loss. You'll see by 40 days, you'll see much more sunken in cheeks. You'll see maybe my neck looking kind of like the skin will pull in my neck. It'll be a little more, you'll definitely see it in my neck. And people often ask about fat loss, but before I get to fat loss, let me continue on the aches and pains part. So you experience a lot of aches and pains, which is actually a blessing. Let me explain. So your body during fasting does what's called autophagy, which means self-eating. And self-eating, all it means is we have injuries. We have extra skin. We have cells that don't divide perfectly, and they're actually just kind of old cells, or they're called senescent cells or zombie cells, just cells that aren't great. And the body is intelligent, and it knows to self-eat these cells. So what happens, and those cells biologically are older. So let's say I have a bunch of cells on my body that are 46. What the body does, and let's say there's other cells that have a biological age of, let's say, 25. The body will slowly eat away the 46-year-old cells and replace them with 25 or whatever the younger age is. And over time, more and more and more of the old cells are replaced by younger cells, so you actually biologically get younger. And like, no joke for me. I got a message here from Christina. Hi, Christina. Thank you so much for messaging. I'm going to check this out in just a minute. But I will definitely read this in one sec. I promise, Christina. So where was I? I often avoid messages and I read them at the end, but it helps because sometimes I'm not always the best talker, and I tend to bounce around a bit, as you're well aware. So the aches and pains are your body repairing itself. So for example, I did martial arts for 20 some odd years, and my knees were injured, but I didn't realize it because I'd gotten so used to maybe me adjusting, maybe the slight ache or whatever, and I didn't notice. And this is way back. This is 2020. Again, I did about a month in 2020. So I noticed on my first long fast that one of my knees repaired itself to an extent. And then 2021, in one of the other, thank you, Christina. That's so sweet. Appreciate it. One of my other knees was aching, and it was about a 7 or 8 day fast. It wasn't super long, but not super short either. It was aching from day 3, like bad enough it kept me up. And I'm like, man, I don't know if this is good. I always hear about, I was kind of youngish, if you will, in my fasting stuff. And then what I realized is that when I quit the fast and I began refeeding, I walked different. my spine was like slightly off because that, I don't remember which knee it was, but my spine was slightly off because that I was kind of like I had almost like my body had adjusted itself so it wouldn't get hurt, and it no longer hurt. It was weird. It was like my body had got so used to being hurt that when it was unhurt, it adjusted. And again, both knees have since been totally healed. Like I don't know what the injuries were, torn, whatever. I'm not here to claim what they were before or after. I just know they hurt. I knew when I would do kicks and certain stances before in martial arts, they would hurt. And now they no longer hurt. They would hurt when I ran. They no longer hurt. They would hurt when I would like sit on a leg, like kind of tuck it under like my hips or my butt, like, kind of sitting on a leg for comfort. I couldn't do it because when I would untuck it, it would hurt so bad. Now I can do it and it never hurts. A couple other things like body healing things that have happened. I had a sciatica, which is I'm sure a lot of people experience, like this pinched nerve usually goes down to leg, 100% gone, 100% gone. When I was a freshman in high school, age 14 or thereabouts, I had gone sledding with a buddy of mine, and there was this hill, and we hit a big bump and landed, and I pinched a nerve. This was separate from the sciatica. I had pinched this nerve, and the only way I could get it unpinched for maybe 30 minutes was if I had went to a chiropractor or someone who knew how to just adjust that proper whatever lumbar it was that was off there. But I couldn't do it myself, no matter how much I tried with what they did and whatever. But what was cool, and this is the most, honestly, one of my favorite things, is that is 100% healed. And I'll tell you why it's so exciting. I'm a total geek. I guess we're all geeks our own way, but I'm a total geek. And I love golf. And golf is spinal twist is everything with golf. So how much flexion and how much you can actually twist the torso, the more beneficial it is, the more power it is, the more compression, etc. I can twist better than probably, literally like I could as a kid. It's crazy. Before I would twist maybe 2/3 and it would start to hurt. Doesn't happen anymore. So there are a lot of benefits to the long fast because you will heal. You will look younger. One of the cool things is the doctor practice I go to, they can measure your biological age. So I am 46 by birth date, but last time I did biological age, it was late teens, early 20s. And I think that was a result to doing, well, we know because we kind of played around with it, just me and them, because they could easily test it. I would do a fast, see if it affected biological age, and it would every time. So that was that. So what I'll do, so here's the plan is I'm going to do these posts. They're going to be short going forward. Don't worry. This is the only long one, but I know the first one and the last one are usually the most viewed. So I just want to answer any questions. Oh, probably most important thing, the refeeding. So when I'm done, and let's assume I'm making it to full 40 days or longer, when I finish, my colon, my digestive tract will have a lot of these toxins deposited in it. And everyone does who does long fast. Anything longer than 5 days, it becomes a serious risk. People, their desire to eat, will often eat breads, meats, whatever. And the problem with that is these foods digest super slow. And what they do is actually force the reabsorption of the toxins. And it basically kills the body, kills the person, because the level of toxins that are reabsorbed are too much for the body to handle. So it is paramount. And it's pretty simple. I just tell people, if you do this, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. 3 days before you start, fruit only. And I just tell them a little extra. Extra is better than not. And then when you start refeeding, 3 to 5 days, just fruit. Just fruit. As much as you want, by the way, but just fruit. I don't care if it's mango, papaya, watermelon, banana, doesn't really matter, as much as you want. Be forewarned, because your body, fruit digests quickly. You're going to have several bowel movements a day. The first couple are usually kind of diarrhea-like. That's normal. Your body is trying to flush the toxins. And I usually encourage the breaking of the fast to be actually watermelon. And what I usually do is I buy like 2-3 watermelon for the week, and I'll like have half as my first meal. I have a spoon, have it like a tablespoon at a time. All right, so Christina, I'm going to read your message now. Coffee is poison for me. It can really drain your kidney and heart chi after the high. Yes. Medical Medium does a great podcast, and the conspiracy to keep folk dependent on it all over the world. Yeah, coffee besides oil is the number one commodity. I mean, besides currencies. So physical thing, coffee beans are the number one commodity outside of oil. So they're really popular. But let me tell you some of the things you can have while you're fasting. John's opinion: herbal teas, black tea, which obviously is caffeinated, so don't have it past maybe 8 or 9 a.m. You can have green tea. That's just another form of the tea leaf. You can have coffee, but it has to be black, no creamer of any sort. I don't care if it's healthy creamer or not. No creamer of any sorts. Obviously water. No juice of any kind. No juice, because you can't have any calories. The only exception to any kind of calories that I say is okay is most people don't eat very cleanly, which is okay. You'll eat, trust me, part of the benefit of fasting, besides autophagy, body healing, becoming biologically younger, and I don't brag about it, but I genuinely feel in my 20s. I genuinely do. Even late teens. I feel really healthy in my body. I work out today hard. And I can work out every single day hard, and it's not a big deal. I still get sore, of course, and I still need recovery. But that's a whole other thing, by the way, working out when fasting. Not recommended unless you're advanced. So nothing can be caloric. It is not recommended that you use an artificial sweetener like stevia, monk fruit, sugar alcohols like xylitol. None of those, because some people have found that people have those and it tricks the body to thinking it ate, and it spikes up the cortisol, which is what spikes when your body has sugar. It's a high level of stress on the body, or eats anything. It in doing so tells the body that the fast is over, so it stops autophagy and all the benefits. Do not do that. So if you cannot have something without sweetener, you just can't have it. It is what it is. So don't even chew gum that tastes sweet. So yes, you can't even have Tic Tacs. You can't have breath mints that are sugar-free. Can't do that, because it will possibly tell the body there's food and mess up your fast. And your goal is to tell your body, I'm not eating anything. A couple other things that I will eat, and I did mention this. When it comes to, I mentioned the fact that your body gets low on blood sugars. Hey, Ronan, good to see you, brother. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. When you do the fast, again, magnesium, potassium, salt, pink salt, or Himalayan pink, or sorry, pink salt, or the Celtic sea salt. So those, I take those all the time. I take them not fasting and fasting, but when you fast, please do it. You are going to be so pissed off when your feet are cramping and you have to crawl to get your magnesium or your potassium or salt. Don't do that. Take them every day, and ideally even have like the salt brine kind of thing that I made. And I just took pink salt. I have about a tablespoon here, and you can take this and then just take a squirt or two. It doesn't take much for your body to have enough electrolytes in your system that it'll help you. So here's the thing you can do to mitigate when you feel crappy. Because unless you've done a lot of fasting, you're going to feel really, really crappy. And that's okay. That's just toxins. It's a blessing. It just doesn't feel good. It feels like a flu. And I get a fever all the time. I don't get sick. It's a detox experience. So get used to the fever. The next thing is, and this helps to the detox, it's a two-part thing. You take what are called activated charcoal, and then buy them in tablet form. Take 4. When you're feeling yucky, take 4, and then immediately chase them with a tablespoon of the psyllium husk in water. Drink it, and that will, the charcoal absorbs the toxins I mentioned earlier, and then the psyllium husk brushes away the it brushes away the toxins, and the psyllium, sorry, brushes away the charcoal, and it pushes everything out, so you have a bowel movement. And the bowel movement will be stinky. That's good. Stinky bowel movements mean I'm getting rid of toxins. So charcoal, psyllium husk, buy it before you start. If this is something in your planning to fast, you're planning to fast, you're going to buy a few things. So you're going to buy the potassium, you're going to buy the magnesium. I advise citrate. Pink salt, you can buy that at any grocery store. Get a few of these vial things and make the concentrated stuff. Have the potassium, magnesium, and salt water brine by your bedside so you can take it if and when you have a cramp. You also want to buy the activated charcoal, the psyllium husk. Lastly, very important, when you break the fast and you're having this watermelon or whatever, by the way, do not do meat, do not do breads of any sort. You can seriously kill yourself, and I don't mean it jokingly, literally die. As I mentioned earlier with the reabsorption, if you do not have a bowel movement within 90 minutes, you need to either take a laxative, or another option is what's called a saltwater flush, which you just take a tablespoon of like this pink salt and put it into like a liter container, a liter jar, something like that. Mix it up. It's going to be incredibly salty. Like, good Lord, this is salty. Drink it. What this will do is shock the system, and it will make you have bowel movements. You may vomit potentially, but don't drink so much that you vomit. Just drink so much, like you can drink it over an hour kind of thing. But it'll force your body to have a bowel movement. It'll create a lot of liquid in your lower abdominal area and have a bowel movement. Or you just do a laxative, but this is a very inexpensive laxative. One last thing I just remembered, and I will read Ronan's quote. You got this. You're an inspiration, my brother. Definitely will be taking these pointers for a future fast. I'm so proud of you, my friend. I'm so proud of you. Fasting is part of every person's journey. It is, whether or not everyone has done it yet, everyone will do it. It's just part of the journey. But before I forget, and I'll finish on this unless something else comes to mind, is when you fast and you're doing 5 days or longer, your blood pressure drops a lot. Remember I said 3 to 7 days, you're maybe at 60 to 80%. And then 7+ days, you're usually 40 to 60% of normal energy. So you have very low energy for long fasts. Pretty much anything past 5 days, you'll notice it. Or if you're kind of beginner, 3. It's paramount that when you go up from a lying down position or even a seated position, they've been sitting for more than a few minutes, you do it in stages. So I'm going to pretend. So first step, from a lying down position, I would get up to maybe about here, kind of just like bent over. And then I'm going to go about halfway. So I'm kind of halfway now. And then I would go slowly to a full standing position. And the reason you slowly do that is if you go too fast, you have a chance of fainting, and you don't obviously want to faint. So to minimize the chance of you fainting and hurting yourself, when you see my pinky, how it's a little bent up compared to the normal pinky, I fell once. Fainted, hit my head, hurt my finger. My head hurt horribly. My wife was actually there. I fainted right in front of her. She didn't have time to do anything. And all I did, I was unknowing at the time, I stood up so fast that, and I'm kind of, what's the word? I enjoy the experience of being lightheaded because I'm like, I've never fainted before. So I'm like, what the hell's the risk? There's no risk. So I stood up. I was like, oh, I feel dizzy. And then I fainted. Never again. So I learned my lesson. I hurt myself. I bashed up my head. I mean, I don't think I had a concussion, but I hurt my head bad, bad. Oh, super glad I didn't land on my teeth or anything. Oh, but anyway, I fell, hurt my pinky. Oh, it's bad. Just not ideal. So now I am painstakingly getting up beyond the 3, 4, 5 day period. All right, so that is it. So for those who are watching, I appreciate you. I'm not sure who you are because I'm streaming on multiple platforms, but I want to say I love you. I appreciate you. If you do fast, please watch this video and like take down notes. You can pause it, rewind, whatever. There's a lot of great meaty stuff here, and be patient with yourself. That's probably the most important part. Be patient with yourself. Start it and end it with fruit, and all the things I told you to buy. That's really all you got to buy for it. Oh, one last thing that's helped me as well: long fasts. I will. I don't have any right to grab, but what I will do too is I will buy medicinal mushroom extracts like reishi or shiitake or chaga, and they make these extracts you can buy, or, and here's the great way, um, like I live in Trinidad, you can actually import chaga mushroom. It's very inexpensive. It looks like a bark almost. You cook it in a slow cooker, and you can literally have like this chunks about this big, maybe maybe the size of two fists, broken up. Those will last you 2 months of having tea every single day. The nice thing about chaga is extremely broad in like what it has. Not everyone resonates with these medicinal mushrooms. It's important that you kind of do it and see how you feel. But it's a very mineral rich, so it allows you to get almost like a vitamin in a drink. And I'll put a little bit of the pink salt in there with the chaga, and that would be like my exciting drink, because honestly, water gets very, very, very boring, and I would. That's something that I do. So I have a slow cooker going with chaga mushroom. I fill it with water every day because I drink probably a liter, half of it, and obviously some evaporates. But that's something I would also encourage is reishi, chaga, and again, chaga you can buy in bulk for next to nothing. It'll cost more to transport it to you than it will to buy it. It's not very expensive. So with that, I'm excited for you. Questions you have, please just message me. I'd be happy to answer them the best I can. I will probably answer them as a video just because you're not the only person who asked that question. And if I can answer it, I'm happy to. And again, this video and the last day 40 final one will be the long ones. I do want to do short ones every day, ideally 5 minutes or less, just to give you an update what happened, how I felt, etc. But I wanted to take time to kind of go full about everything today, and then I'll do kind of a rehash on when I finish, whenever I decide to do that. So with that, I appreciate you. I hope you have an amazing day. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Ronan and Christina and everyone else who's on. I appreciate you immensely. Many blessings. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.